When someone stays in your mind nonstop, it isn't love. Not yet. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture this. You open your eyes in the morning, and the first thing that rises in your mind isn't your plans, your ambitions, or your responsibilities, but them, their face, their laugh, their silence. You reach for your phone hoping for a message. You replay your last conversation like it's a code you're trying to break. You think of them when you eat, when you work, when night falls and your thoughts won't quiet down. And then you whisper the question everyone in your situation eventually asks, is this love? Most people instantly say yes. If someone is constantly on your mind, it must be love. But no, the truth is different. When you can't stop thinking about someone, it isn't love. It's something deeper, heavier, sometimes darker. Tonight, walk with me through this truth. Because by the end, not only will you understand why they occupy your mind so intensely, you'll also understand what love truly means. 1. The illusion of love we grew up with. We were raised on stories that worship obsession. Movies, music, novels, they all sold us the idea that constant thoughts equal love. That love demands restless nights. That love feels like chaos in your stomach. That love is supposed to make you lose control. But that isn't love. Those are illusions wrapped in romance. Love doesn't burn you out. Love doesn't steal your sanity. Love isn't about filling every spare moment with someone's image. That is fixation. That is infatuation. That is attachment. Real love is quieter, steadier, stronger. It doesn't rob you of peace. Real love brings you peace. 2. The brain chemistry behind obsession. Let's talk science for a moment. When someone new and exciting enters your life, your brain floods with dopamine, the same reward chemical that lights up in gamblers and addicts. That's why your mind won't let them go. Every thought is like a tiny hit of pleasure. Then oxytocin steps in, the bonding hormone, and suddenly your emotions cling to them even if they haven't earned that place. So what's happening? You're not in love. You're high. You're addicted. Your endless thoughts aren't proof of love. They're proof of chemical dependence. 3. Attachment, not love. Sometimes the constant thinking isn't addiction. It's attachment. Attachment says, I need you because without you, I'm incomplete. Love says, I am whole, and I choose you. Attachment says, you are my anchor. Love says, I stand on my own. If your thoughts about them are laced with anxiety, insecurity, or fear, then it's not love, it's attachment. And the more you attach, the more you drift away from yourself. 4. The haunting of memory. Sometimes the person you can't stop thinking about isn't even in your life anymore. Maybe they left. Maybe things ended. Maybe nothing ever happened between you. So why do they keep returning to your mind? Because you're not holding on to them. You're holding on to the version of you that existed when they were near. The laughter, the validation, the feeling of being wanted. You're not in love with them. You're in love with the memory of how life felt when they were part of it. 5. Fantasy over reality. Here's a hard truth. The person you've been thinking about isn't real. Not the version in your head, at least. Your mind edits their flaws, exaggerates their strengths, and builds a perfect character that doesn't exist in reality. You fall in love with the story you've created, not the person themselves. And fantasies are dangerous because they never disappoint, but real people do. 6. Fear of emptiness. Let's be brutally honest. Sometimes you can't stop thinking about someone, not because of them, but because of the emptiness inside you. Because silence feels unbearable. Because loneliness feels like too much. Because without them to fixate on, you'd have to face your own reflection. So your mind clings to them as a distraction, not out of love, but out of fear of the void, fear of stillness, fear of being alone with your own thoughts. 7. The ache of unresolved feelings. Another reason thoughts linger is unfinished emotional business. Words you never said, answers you never got, a goodbye that never truly happened. Your mind hates incomplete stories, so it replays the same scenes over and over, searching for closure. But remember, closure doesn't come from them. Closure comes from acceptance. You don't need them to set you free. You can release yourself. 8. The truth about real love. So what is love, if not all this? Love is calm. Love is steady. Love doesn't clutter your mind. It gives it rest. Love isn't thinking about someone every second. Love is simply knowing they're part of your heart, even when they're not in your thoughts. Love doesn't create storms. Love creates balance. And that is how you know the difference. 9. How to free yourself. If you're trapped in this cycle of thoughts, here's how you begin to break free. Step 1. Name it. Say, this is not love. This is obsession. This is attachment. This is fear. Naming weakens it. Step 2. Face your inner emptiness. Ask, what part of me feels unhealed? Step 3. Build purpose. Fill your life with activities, passions, projects that give you meaning. Purpose dissolves obsession. Step 4. Let go of the fantasy. See them as a flawed human, not your savior. Step 5. Practice self-love. When you value yourself deeply, you stop chasing scraps of attention. 10. The hidden gift. Sometimes the person you can't stop thinking about was never meant to stay. They came to awaken something in you, to reveal wounds you've ignored, to expose what needs healing. They aren't your forever, they're your lesson. And when the lesson is understood, the obsession naturally fades. 11. A story worth remembering. There was once a man who spent years thinking about a woman he once loved. She moved on, started a new life, and yet he remained trapped in the memory of her. He convinced himself it was love. But an old mentor told him, you're not in love with her. You're in love with the version of yourself that disappeared when she left. And suddenly he understood he didn't need her back. He needed himself back. 12. The final truth. So let's return to where we started. When you can't stop thinking about someone, it isn't love. It might be obsession. It might be memory. It might be fantasy. It might be fear. It might be attachment. But it is not love. Love isn't chaos. It's peace. Love isn't obsession. It's freedom. Love isn't losing yourself. It's discovering yourself more deeply. So the next time someone won't leave your thoughts, don't ask, why can't I erase them? Ask, what is this trying to teach me about myself? And when you discover that answer, you'll finally understand what real love means.